So yesterday we looked at a kind of basic version of quadratics we were trying to graph when we didn't have a linear term. So today we're going to look at when there's a linear term mixed in. And so the first thing here, when a is greater than 0, that number in front of the x squared, if we talk about this, this is the one you should know. The parabola is going to open up. If it's less than 0, it opens down. So in this problem here, are we going to have an open up or open down? What is a in our actual problem? No, it's not x squared, it's the number in front of x squared. And if that number's not there, what does that mean it is? It's a 1. Is it a positive 1 or a negative 1? Positive. So since it is positive, that means it's greater than 0, so the parabola is going to open up. Okay, so just a quick thing, it's going to open up. Okay. Second piece here, the axis of symmetry is this line here, x equals negative b over 2a. Okay, so I'm going to say, a lot of y'all did this the other day, axis of symmetry. In this problem, let's see equation, x equals, in this problem, what is b? What's in front of the x? A negative 2, right? Okay, so b is negative 2. What I want is a negative of b. So what's a negative of a negative 2? Positive 2. So I'm going to actually write it out here. Negative b over 2 times a. And y'all just told me that a was 1, right? Kind of back up out of the way here. So when I do that, that gives me 2 divided by 2. So the axis of symmetry is going to be x equals 1. So what is the axis of symmetry again? Not this answer. What is it? Define it. Do you remember?
Fold evenly and mirror each other.
So yeah, so it's that vertical line that goes through the middle of the parabola. So if my parabola looks something like this, the axis of symmetry is that vertical line that goes through the middle. Okay. All right. So the next thing up here, it says the x-coordinate of the vertex. So my vertex, the x-coordinate is negative b over 2a. So we just found that, so the x-coordinate is going to be 1. Okay, is that, everybody okay with that? Now how do we find the y-coordinate of the vertex? Because that's kind of important. Kind of tells us where we're starting at.
Did you get rid of your 2x? Or negative 2x?
Can I get rid of my negative 2x? Over here?
Yeah.
I can't just get rid of it. It won't let me do that. But if I know that x is going to equal 1 at the vertex, what can I now do? I can plug that 1 back into my equation. So everywhere there's an x, I'm going to put a 1. So instead of x squared, I have 1 squared. Instead of minus 2x, I've got minus 2 times 1, and I've got minus 3. And I can evaluate that now and get what y is in that case. So that'll be 1 minus 2 minus 3. And 1 minus 2 is negative 1, minus 3 is negative 4. So the y coordinate of the vertex is going to be negative 4. So we found the vertex. Let's go back and define it. What is the vertex?
That's why in the middle.
Yeah, it's a point. We got an ordered pair. And it's the point that's on that axis of symmetry and also on the parabola. So it's kind of the point that's in the middle of the parabola. Okay? It's that point where it changes direction. So in this problem, right here is going to be the vertex. Now the last piece of information on this little chart, the y-intercept is the point 0c. So the y-intercept is the point 0, and then what is c in this problem? Negative 3. So that gives us another point we can plot. All right. So how do we go about graphing? We're going to use a lot of this information here. Okay, first off, we know that it opens up. Okay. I am going to kind of draw my x equals 1 line in here. So that's going to be right here. So that's my axis of symmetry. So the right side and the left side are going to look the same. My vertex is the point 1, negative 4. 1, negative 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and so that's going to be kind of my center point. Okay. And it's going to be at the bottom of it, so it's called a minimum. Okay. And then the other thing that I know is I have a point at 0, negative 3, so right here. So I just use all my information that we just talked about from that top information. All right. Now, from yesterday, if I know a point on one side of the parabola, where else do I know a point? Yeah, the exact same amount of distance from this axis of symmetry on the other side. So there's going to be a coordinate corresponding point right there. Now, the question at this point would be, can you draw a good parabola just from those 3 points? Probably not. We can draw one that would give us something, but not a lot of good stuff. So, we need another point. So this is what we did yesterday. We plugged in values for x. Remember we made our little table? Okay, and we've already used when x was 1. Or sorry, when x is 2 here. And that was y was negative 3. So let's use 3 and maybe 4 and see what happens. So we're going to plug 3 in for x up here. So going back to the original equation, y equals where x is, we're going to put 3. So everywhere there was an x, I put a 3. And then we're going to evaluate. So 3 squared is 9. Negative 2 times 3 is a minus 6, and then minus 3. And then what is 9 minus 6 minus 3? 0. So at 3, it's going to be a 0. Which means also if I go 2 units to the other side, there's going to be 1 there. That gives me a pretty good shape. Okay. I can probably go to 4 and kind of a little bit better, but that should give me a pretty good feel for it right there. So we'll kind of stop there and sketch the graphic. That's the process of graphing. You get a lot of information from the equation itself, which direction it opens up, what the axis of symmetry is, what the vertex is, and what the y-intercept is, just from looking at the equation. Okay. So let me give all of you a sheet of graphic. All kind of work with. We'll check it and make sure we're good. Anyway, just I found my graph paper after all I got it in yesterday. here's y'all's equation down at the bottom. Y equals negative x squared plus 4x plus 2. I want y'all to see if you can get that graphed, and I'll come around and make sure we're doing well. Okay. Let's start with a couple of the, make sure we're all on the right page with this. In this problem, the y equals negative x squared plus 4x plus 2. What's a in this problem?
-1.
Negative 1. Okay, because it's the number that's in front of the x squared. So a is negative 1. Okay, what's b in this problem? 4. And then c is what? 2. Okay, so that's the starting spot. Okay, now let's go to get into these questions over here. Is our parabola going to open up or down? Down. Why is it going to open down? Because a is negative. A is less than 0. And so it's going to open down. Okay. Second thing, how do we find the axis of symmetry? Let's kind of go back up here. The axis of symmetry is the line x equals negative b over 2a. Alright, so I'm going to go back down here. And I'm just going to kind of put it down here. 2. X equals negative b divided by 2a. So what is b in this case? What do we just find for b? 4. So it's negative 4 over 2 times a, and a is what? Negative 1. Do I know? So that gives, yeah, sorry, you were answering it. Negative 4 divided by negative 2 is a positive 2. So my axis of symmetry is x equals 2. Sorry, I didn't realize that's what you were answering at that point. Now, how do we find the vertex? What we know about the vertex is, I'm going to change colors here. I know the x coordinate is going to be that 2 that we just got from the axis of symmetry. How do we find the y coordinate? Plug it back into the equation. Plug the x back into the equation. Okay, so I'm going to kind of zoom down here just a little bit. So y equals negative parentheses 2 squared plus 4 parentheses 2 plus 2. So 2 to the second power is 4, but that's a negative there. 4 times 2 is 8. So add that together and say y is 6. So the vertex is the point 2, 6. The 2 came from the axis of symmetry. That, whatever x is equal to, is the x coordinate of your vertex. Everybody good up to that point? Okay, the y-intercept, if we go back up, it says the y-intercept is the point 0c. So y-intercept is the point 0, and then what is our c? We got a lot of 2's in here. Okay, so there's me another point. So let's see if I've got. Alright. So if I'm looking at my grid, we know it's going to open down. My axis of symmetry is the line x equals 2. Let me draw that on here. I'll go over to 2 on the x-axis, 1, 2, and I'll draw a vertical line through there. I know my vertex is at the point 2, 6. So on that line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's going to be actually above my grid a little bit there. And then I know I have my y-intercept at 0, 2. So that's the point right here. And then as a reminder, if I know something on the left, I also know a corresponding point on the right. So that's 2 units from the axis of symmetry, so I need to go 2 more units to the other side, and there's my corresponding point. So I definitely need another point. And so if we choose a value of x, let's choose when x is 1. That's going to be a point somewhere up in here. And remember, to find that, I have to plug in 1 where x was in that original equation. So I'm going to, where I put a 2 in all of these, I'm going to put a 1. So it's going to be y equals negative, parentheses 1 squared, plus 4 times 1 plus 2. Now notice that the negative sign is on the outside of those parentheses in that first piece. Because I'm squaring the x, I'm not squaring the negative. Okay, so I'm going to square that number and then make whatever that answer is negative. So 1 squared is 1, but then that's negative 1. Plus 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2. And that's 4 plus 2 is 6, minus 1 is 5. So 0.15 is right there. And as always with the parabola, I can also find my corresponding point now, which will be 1 unit to the other side. And from there I can draw my parabola. What questions do you have? None at the moment? Okay. So we have about, sorry, 9 more minutes. So on your sheet of paper there, we'll have you do one more. And so this is still kind of notes piece today. So it's be minus 3x. So negative x, y equals negative x squared minus 3x plus 6. So I'll have you work that one on your own. I'm going to walk around. If you get stuck at all, you don't know where to start, stop me, okay? Ask me a question, see if I can get you on track, and we'll move from there.